The COPM is a client-centered, semi-structured interview that aids the person in articulating areas of concern in occupational performance. Today we are administering the COPM on our patient, Mr. Gary, who has recently been diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, or COPD. COPD is a chronic lung disease characterized by increased breathlessness, frequent coughing, wheezing, and tight chest. This test takes approximately 20 to 40 minutes to administer. The area should be free from distractions. The therapist should introduce herself and make sure the client understands the purpose of occupational therapy. During the initial interview, the therapist will assist the client in identifying areas of performance that are impacted by Mr. Gary's COPD. Therapeutic use of self, listening techniques, and a natural flowing conversation should be used to prompt the client in identifying concerns.
Hi, Mr. Gary. My name is Kohler. I'm going to be your occupational therapist today. How are you doing?
I'm just fine.
All right, good. So today we're going to do an assessment to kind of see how independent you are, and I want to see what you enjoy doing and how satisfied and how able you are to do it, okay?
Okay.
All right, so do you know what occupational therapy is?
I don't.
Okay, well that's all right. So I'm an occupational therapist, and basically I come in and I help you adapt to whatever illness or disease that you're dealing with, and in your case it's COPD. So I'm going to teach you a couple of adaptive ways to be able to live your life and to do the things you love independently, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, let's get started. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions and interview you a little bit if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so tell me about your normal day, your routine.
Well, get up in the morning, shower, get dressed, and start my day depending on what I'm doing.
Okay, and do you have trouble with dressing at all or showering?
Showering not too much, but dressing sometimes.
Do you have trouble with like your putting on shirts
Pants.
or pants? Okay, has trouble with his pants. Okay, anything else that what do you do after you get dressed and after you've taken a shower?
Well, sometimes I go for a walk.
Okay.
Some days I go to work.
Where do you work?
I'm a part-time delivery for UPS.
Okay, all right, and how often do you work?
It just depends when they need me. Usually about once or twice, maybe 3 times a month.
Okay, okay. All right, what else do you do around the house?
I do a lot of cleaning, cooking, all the chores you can think of in the house.
Okay, what kind of cooking do you do?
A lot of grilling.
Do you enjoy grilling?
I do.
What kind of food do you like to grill?
Anything really. Shrimp, chicken, steaks, you name
Okay.
it.
Are you cooking for a family?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. And then what's your plan after dinner? What takes place after that?
Well, after we eat, I usually try to clean up, put everything back together,
Okay.
settle down.
All right.
Watch
Sounds
some
good.
TV.
Watch some TV. Okay. And then what do you do for fun? What kind of recreational activities do you participate in?
I play golf a little bit.
Okay. I bet that's pretty hard with your COPD.
It's getting harder.
Okay.
Sometimes we go to the beach.
Who is we?
My wife and my children.
Okay.
I go to a lot of parties on weekends
Okay.
with my old friends.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Not really. Fishing.
Oh, you like to fish? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm sure you do that at the beach.
Yeah.
Okay. And I noticed that you said you go on walks in the mornings. Do you go on walks on the beach as well?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
The first step after the initial interview is to identify the client's occupational performance issues. The therapist should encourage clients to identify daily activities which they want to do, need to do, or are expected to do, but cannot do or aren't satisfied with how they do. The performance issues are split into 3 categories, including self-care, productivity, and leisure.
So now that we've discussed your daily routine, I want to talk about some of the areas that you told me where you had issues, okay? So you said that you took showers in the morning, and was there ever an issue with showering for you?
It's difficult.
What is difficult about it?
Standing for a long period of time.
Okay.
hurts sometimes.
So standing in the shower, okay? And then what about dressing independently?
Well,
Are you able to do that?
I can always have difficulty with my hands.
Okay. All right. We also talked about taking walks. Would you say that's something that's becoming more difficult for you with your COPD?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then how about traveling to the beach, getting to the beach, loading up the car and with your wife?
Just have to pace myself.
Pace yourself. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, Mr. Gary, so tell me about your work. Is that a big issue for you? Being a UPS man, does your COPD impact that?
Yes, delivering packages sometimes, especially if it's uphill a lot, heavy
Okay.
packages.
So that's pretty difficult for you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and is that why you started working less?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
Okay. All right, and then you also talked about doing yard work as part of your household management. What kind of yard work are you doing?
I'm grass cutting.
Grass cutting? Okay. And that's an issue for you with your COPD, I'm assuming?
Yeah, edging, weeding, all those together.
They're kind of, okay.
Wear on me.
All right, so that's difficult for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, and then what about, you said that you like to cook with grilling, and you said you like to grill a bunch of different foods like chicken and things like that. So is grilling an issue for you? I know you have to stand when you grill. Does that tire you out?
It does wear me out.
Okay, it does. So that's an issue for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so tell me about your quiet recreation time, like your hobbies and things that you do by yourself, like crafts, anything like that?
I do a lot of reading.
A lot of reading? Does your COPD affect that at all?
No.
All right, well, that's good. Okay, what about some active recreation, like sports or outings or things like that?
Well, playing golf. And,
You play golf?
Going to the beach, things like that.
Okay.
Fishing.
And those three things, does your COPD affect that?
Oh yeah.
Do you play golf much often anymore because of that?
It's getting less.
Okay.
I can't play 18, I usually play 9 now.
Okay, all right, so we'll definitely, so we've got playing golf and fishing, you said, and going to the beach. Okay. All right, and then what about like socialization? You said that you attended parties with your friends. Does your COPD ever affect that at all?
Well, if I'm at a loud party, I have to yell kind of loud, then, talk loud, that kind of seems to wear me out.
It wears you out? Okay, all right. It's just kind of hard to yell over people?
Yes, continuously.
Okay. So we have problems carrying out conversations when it's loud.
Mm-hmm.
After occupational performance issues have been identified and sorted into their respective categories, each issue is rated on a scale of 1 to 10 based on the importance to the client. 1 being not important at all and 10 being very important.
Okay, Mr. Gary, now that we've written down a couple of things that you do every day that are issues, I want to kind of figure out how important these things are to you, okay? So I'm going to list one of the things that we talked about, and I want you to tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how important that is to you to be able to do it independently, okay?
10 being the most important.
10 is the most important, okay? So let's start, just for kind of an example and for your first try. If standing in the shower was super important to you, you would give me a 10. If it was not important to you at all, you'd give me a 0. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Okay, so standing in the shower, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is that to you?
About an 8.
An 8, okay. How about pulling up and pushing down your pants and putting on your socks and shoes?
Oh, that's a 10.
That's important to you to be able to do by yourself?
Yes.
Okay. All right, what about taking walks?
About a 7.
A 7? That's how important it is to you, okay? All right, and traveling to the beach with your wife and family?
Oh, a 7.
Okay. All right, Mr. Gary, so we're gonna continue to rate the importance of a couple of the activities that you do at home, okay?
Okay.
So let's start with your work. How important is it for you to work as a UPS man on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would say about a 3.
Okay, 3. All right, and what about doing your yard work? How important is that to you?
That's a 10.
A 10 to be able
doing it. Yes.
You enjoy it? Okay, all right. So we'll definitely put that one on here. And then what about cooking and grilling? You said that you really enjoy that and you have issues with it. How
It's
important?
about a 9.
That's a 9? Okay. What about playing golf? How important is that to you?
That's about a 10.
A 10? All right. And what about going fishing?
Oh, that's a 10 too.
That's a 10 as well? All right. You like recreational activities, don't you? Okay. And then carrying out conversations with your friends at parties. How important is that to you?
That's about a 5 or 6.
A 5 or a 6? Okay. Are we thinking more a 5 or more a 6?
Probably more 5.
Okay, so not as important. Okay.
Next, the therapist should confirm with the client the 5 problems ranked most important and record them. The therapist will then ask the client to rate each problem on performance and satisfaction, then calculate a total score. The total score is calculated by adding together the performance or satisfaction scores for all problems and dividing by the number of problems.
The performance problems that are most important to you are going to be dressing independently, completing yard work, fishing, grilling, and golfing. Okay?
Okay.
Does that sound about right to you?
Sounds about right to me.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you your perceived performance ability on each of these. Basically, I want to see how well you think that you can perform these activities, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you this on a scale of 1 to 10. Afterward, I'm going to ask you how satisfied you are with that number on a scale of 1 to 10.
Got it.
So we'll walk it through together. It's kind of confusing, okay? So, how well do you think on a scale of 1 to 10 that you can dress your lower body independently?
About a 7.
A 7, okay? And how satisfied are you with that number on a scale of 1 to 10?
About an 8.
An 8, okay. All right. Doing yard work, how well do you think you can perform your yard work tasks on a scale of 1 to 10?
About a 3.
A 3, okay, so not very high. All right. And then how satisfied are you with that?
Not very, about a 5.
About a 5, okay. All right. So how well do you think you can perform the task of fishing?
About a 5.
A 5, so your COPD kind of limits you to the 5, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how satisfied are you with that?
4.
A 4 out of 10, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. How well are you able to grill?
About a 5.
Okay. 5 out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how satisfied are you with that?
About a 6.
6, okay. All right. And then last but not least, playing golf. How well do you think you can play golf right now?
Well, I still beat my wife all the time.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, at golf.
Thank you.
About a 2.
2. Okay. And how satisfied are you with that number?
Out of 3.
3. So not very satisfied.
The therapist and Mr. Gary will agree upon a time to reassess each problem. This will entail the client to score each of the problems selected for performance and satisfaction again.
3 weeks later.
Mr. Gary, it's good to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Okay, so it's
I'm
been...
wearing the same shirt I wore last time.
That's okay. That is A-okay. So it's been about 3 weeks since we did our initial interview.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and since then we've worked really hard. And so now we're gonna do the interview again, a shorter version. We're just gonna talk about the points that were important to you.
Okay.
And how well you can do them now and your satisfaction with that, okay? So let's start with the beginning. We worked on dressing a lot. So how do you think that your performance rate is with dressing on a scale of 1 to 10? How able are you to do that independently now?
Well, now it's probably a 9.
A 9, okay. So we went from a 7 to a 9, okay. And how satisfied are you with that improvement?
Oh, I'm greatly satisfied. That's perfect. 10 is perfect 10.
A scale of 1 to 10 is a 10, okay. All right. And so yard work. Tell me about what's happening with your yard work at home. We showed you some techniques and we recommended you some different supplies and different kind of lawn mowers. What have you been up to at home with your yard work?
Well, the riding lawnmower's really helped out.
You got a riding lawnmower. Okay.
I've gotten around to be able to do some other things now.
Okay, good. So your performance rating on a scale of 1 to 10, how able are you to do your yard work now?
I'll say that's about an 8.
An 8, okay. So we went from, wow, a 3 to an 8, okay. And how satisfied are you with this improvement?
Well, about an 8, yeah.
Okay, pretty satisfied. All right. And then fishing. We tried to give you a couple techniques for fishing, like energy conservation and staying seated while fishing. How has that gone for you?
It's okay. Still about the same there.
Okay.
About a 5, I guess, on my performance.
Okay, so no improvement there. And how satisfied are you with this?
I've been catching a lot lately, so I'm gonna go with a 3.
A 3, okay. All right, and grilling. We talked a lot about grilling and what you can do to conserve energy while grilling. So how has this improved at all?
Absolutely.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you can grill now?
About an 8.
An 8, okay. So that was definitely an improvement from 5 to 8. And how satisfied are you with this improvement?
There's room to grow there. I would say about an 8 as well.
An 8, okay. All right, and playing golf. We tried to show you a couple techniques, maybe sticking to putting and that kind of thing that doesn't require so much energy and so much movement. So you started out at a 2 in performance. Where do you think you are now in your performance?
About the same.
About a 2 still?
Still about a 2.
Okay.
I want to hit the big sticks.
Okay, and what's your satisfaction with that?
My wife beat me last week, so I'm down to a 2 now.
You're down to a 2, okay. So your satisfaction with your performances went from a 3 to a 2.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Gary, it has been a pleasure to work with you. I hope that we've helped you out some.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
After the reassessment has taken place, the therapist must find the computing score changes. To find the change in performance, the performance score 1 should be subtracted from the performance score 2. To find the change in satisfaction, the satisfaction score 1 should be subtracted from the satisfaction score 2. A change of 2 or more is considered statistically significant.